So
So part of this
football.
topic.
Let's talk about football.
Yep. So
Foosball.
this this thing that you were just talking about, where they have passed um, the age based eligibility model. So the basic part of it is just like you said. There is no longer going to be any old heads that are going to be allowed to play college football just because they have eligibility left. So what this says, and this is from Pete Thamel, the NCAA Division I cabinet has unanimously voted to approve the age-based eligibility model. It's a landscape moment for the NCAA, marking a shift away from the model that allowed athletes 4 seasons of competition over 5 years with no age restrictions. So in the old model, you could basically be a 27-year-old freshman. And from that point, you had 5 seasons to be able to play, or 5 years to play 4 seasons.
And before you get your panties in the wad,
one of those included a red shirt.
And before you get your panties in the wad, if you do go to the military, you are exempt on this rule. I'm pretty positive.
Yes, and there's also an exemption for like mission for like BYU's sake. They have people that they go on mission trips and stuff. That's also exempt.
And I almost want to even say that, like, if you have a child or pregnant, like, I think there's something in there.
I believe something like that on the women's side.
Yep. So So I mean, they really do try to give some credit where credit's due.
There are exceptions, but for the vast majority of people, this age-based model calls for an athlete's eligibility clock upon the initial full-time enrollment in college or at the beginning of the academic year following their 19th birthday. So, right out of high school, most people are 18 years old right out of high school. As soon as you enroll as a full-time student, that starts your clock. Or if you do decide to take a gap year, then as soon as you turn 19, that following semester starts your clock. And what it doesn't have in here...
What if you don't enroll in college at all until you're like 27?
Well, I mean, it's... Once you turn 19, that would start your clock.
Doesn't matter. I've already done 3 years of college. Don't ask me about my 4th year. Gone.
Yeah. So this will begin this summer. So athletes from this past season, we mentioned, or we talked about the possibility of, if they approve it for athletes from this past season, somebody like Carlin Pickens could come back, which she's not now because she's in professional softball.
And she's killing it. So
yeah, but there's athletes that could have benefited from this. Felix Okpara is one of them. They could have benefited from this. But this will go into effect next season. Now, this is not officially passed. It will go in, or it's going to go above or in front of another board tomorrow. But it's almost certain that it will pass at this point because it was unanimously passed today by the NCAA cabinet. This is very similar to what Donald Trump brought up back earlier this year. And it is actually exactly what we talked about back earlier, because what it doesn't mention in this article that I actually looked up whenever I first saw this is basically you have 5 years to play 5 seasons of college football. 5 to play 5, like we talked about earlier this year.
Correct.
with some different athletes. So as long as you don't have an injury or anything like that, you can play 5 seasons now. Just like you've been able to. Obviously, one of those is a red shirt, so you're on the team, but you don't get to play. But you can play 5 seasons because you have 5 years to do so. But you cannot go past that mark. Once your 5 years is up, that's it. You can no longer play anymore in college. So that is huge news for college sports. You're no longer going to have 25-year-olds out there, looking for their 7th, 8th year of eligibility. It's cut and dry. 5 years to play 5 seasons.
Do you like that?
I love it.
I think I do too. I just like the idea that maybe one day I could go try to walk on somewhere, do something. But my time's running out. So, I mean, it really don't matter. But then again, like I said, you see a kicker be 37 years old and he's a junior in college or something. and he is a kicker, and he's doing quite well. And it's like, man, that is so cool. Like to see a guy that like is almost like living a second prime, I guess. Man, I'm gonna really get slandered for that one. All right. Anyways,
But something
Pat
else
McAfee.
that I didn't mention there is this also means there's no longer going to be red shirts.
No.
Yeah,
Will
which
there
is
still be medical?
no. If you get hurt, then that counts towards one of your
No, I disagree.
5
with that.
years.
I disagree with that one. That's unfortunate. I mean, you can't expect, especially if you tear an ACL in like game 2 of your freshman year or whatever. Well, now you're like it almost keeps you from being able to play because I'm serious, guys. ACLs is not like a 9-month process. I don't know how we've had a couple of athletes be able to do that, but like an ACL, MCL, like especially if you just blew out your knee to where you almost don't even know if you're coming back, but like that can affect 2 full seasons, and that would suck to get that counted against you. But it is what it is. It's part of the game, I guess.
Yep. But that also means that, in the past, lots of coaches have withheld players that they were trying to save eligibility for.
Mm-hmm.
That's no longer a thing now. You can play players as much as you want to without burning any eligibility because everybody has the same eligibility now. It's 5 years.
Do you think with this you'll see more freshmen play? Because you're
you
not
will.
worried about burning a red shirt?
I think you will. I think you're going to see a lot more freshmen playing
That's wild.
meaningful minutes.
That's wild.
Because of that. So there are going to be drawbacks to it, but I think that the positives are going to outweigh the negatives with this rule, which is hard. Which is hard to say whenever it's a NCAA thing coming out. So,
Well, so what you're saying is the NCAA has done something right.
I think in this case they have.